funny thing. What do bees do?
Nectarines.
They chew bumble gum.
Bubble
Gum.
gum.
Okay, come over here. Okay, Hunter has a joke. Hunter's gonna tell a joke too.
What did the bee say to the sushi?
What?
Wasabi.
Wasabi. Oh, that's a good one too. Everybody's full of bee jokes today. Okay, last one. You ready? What do you call a wasp?
A wasp.
What do you call a wasp?
A wasp?
Well, yeah, sure, but come on, Max. It's supposed to be funny. What do you call a wasp?
A failed bee?
A wanna-bee. A wannabe.
Wannabe. What's a wannabe?
Wannabe.
What's a wannabe?
You guys are funny. Okay, I think we're gonna get started. Sarah, are you ready? Okay, fantastic. All right, guys. So as always, I know some of you are new. I'm not sure I remember seeing Floyd or Tobias, but for these classes, guys, what we do is we mute everybody. Okay, so I'm about to mute everybody. And then you're only going to hear me talk, okay? You're not going to be able to talk. I'm not going to be able to hear you, and Miss Sarah is not going to be able to hear you either, okay? So what you have to do if you want to talk to us is you have to type in your group chat, okay? Or you have to raise your hand, and you can actually physically raise your hand, and I'll unmute you if you have a question, okay? So remember, I can't hear you. Miss Sarah cannot hear you. The other Miss Sarah, we have two Miss Sarahs. And if you need us, you have to use your group chat. Thumbs up? Everybody understands? All right, fantastic. I'm sure that we will get a few more, Sarah, so if you want to ease into it pretty slowly, that way we don't miss out on too many people, but we'll go ahead and get started. So guys, this is Miss Sarah, other Miss Sarah, okay, and she's going to introduce us and tell us who she works with.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm so excited to see you all today, this morning. So my name is also Sarah, and I am a teacher with a group called Wild Friends, and we go into schools to teach about science, and we especially love to teach about pollinators. So I'm very excited to see you today, and I hope you have lots of questions and maybe things that you've noticed about flowers and pollinators, and we'll have time for you to talk about them. And so first, what I want you to do is say your name and a pollinator, either if you've drawn a picture of one or if you've seen one, you could tell me. And if you're not sure what a pollinator is, you could just say a favorite animal. So I'll go first and I'll tell you when it's your turn and I'll unmute you, okay? So my name is Sarah, and a pollinator I saw over the long weekend was a beautiful bright green bee. It was shiny and really, really beautiful and colorful. Okay, so Jet, you're next.
Well, my name is Jet, and I saw a hummingbird. I'm pretty sure those are pollinators.
How about a thumbs up if you agree with Jet that a hummingbird is a pollinator? Thanks, Jet. Okay, next, let's go to Max.
Did I see any pollinators?
And if you're not sure, you can just say, and it's okay. We're going to learn about that today.
I saw another hummingbird over the weekend.
Awesome. Okay, is this Lloyd? It says Lloyd. I'm not sure if that's you. In the middle? I don't know if he can be unmuted. Yeah. Do you want to say your name and if you've seen a pollinator?
There we go.
I am Lloyd, and the pollinator I saw over the weekend was a bright yellow honeybee.
Cool. Thumbs up if anyone else saw any honeybees recently. Okay, let's go to Tobias.
My name's Tobias Sanchez, and I saw, well, there was kind of a swarm of moths.
Cool. Anyone else see moths lately?
those are pollinators.
You're
Right.
right. You're right. Thanks, Tobias. Okay, let's go to Aspen.
Uh, um, this weekend and today, my name's Aspen, and this weekend and today, I saw lots of butterflies.
Ooh, thumbs up if
And
you also.
I also saw lots of moths in our picnic blanket.
Cool. Okay, let's see. I'm not sure if I can unmute everybody, Sarah. It looks like some of them say ask to unmute.
Okay, who are we calling on next? And I'll try, but sometimes they have to unmute themselves.
Yeah, is there, there you go. There you go. Can you all tell me your name? The 3 people who are together eating a snack. Can you tell me your names?
Your names. Say your name.
Levi. Abby. Molly.
Hi, did you all see any pollinators in the last couple days?
I know. We have a lot of moths at the new house, and we also have a big sapling at
No, pollinators. Do you know any bugs or animals you saw?
I know hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus.
Okay, those are very cool animals. We're gonna see. Do we think they're pollinators?
Me and Daddy and my dad and Daddy and Daddy were trying to get Gina.
No. Just tell her an animal. Tell her an animal you saw. Okay, tell her. Any animal. Any animal. It's okay. What do you?
That's okay.
He saw a peacock last night.
Ooh.
Not a pollinator, but and then what kind of pollinator did you see? Well, say it to the group.
Butterflies and hummingbirds and giant bumblebees.
Ooh, giant bumblebees. Thumbs up if anyone's seen a giant bumblebee lately. Very cool. Thanks, you guys. I'm going to mute you again. Okay, let's see. It says Sam family in the red shirt. Do you want to tell us your name? No? Okay, that's okay. Okay. Let's see. Is it Ethan? Would you like to tell us your name and an animal you might have seen? No, pass. You can just say pass too. Okay, how about Max at the bottom?
Pass.
Okay. Okay, and someone wrote, bumblebees are friendly. So good job, everybody. Oh, sorry, Miss Sarah. Do you want to say?
Sure. Miss Sarah, and I think we've seen a lot of pollinators in our garden this week. We've seen lots of bees and wasps and some butterflies.
Cool, thanks you guys. So it's okay if you're not sure who a pollinator is. I'm about to share with you some photos of some really cool pollinators. So let me get up my screen so you can see. And okay, can you guys see it okay? Miss Sarah, does it look good? Okay, cool. So all about pollinators. I'm gonna show you a picture of a pollinator. And even if you can't hear yourself right now, I want you to say the name out loud, okay? So when you see the picture, tell me what one you see. So the question is, what animals are pollinators? And I'm gonna show you which animals are. So who's this, everybody? A bee, it's a bumblebee. Someone just mentioned one, right? How about this one? A butterfly. This is a painted lady. We've been seeing a lot of these lately. If you're in Albuquerque, you probably have been seeing a lot of these. Who's this? A hummingbird. Okay, this one's a little bit harder. I don't know if I can unmute a bunch of you at a time.
Moth.
Moth, yep. I can hear somebody saying moth. And that is actually called a hummingbird moth because when it's flying, it looks like a hummingbird. It has really fast wings. Who's this? This is kind of a hard one. Raise your hand like on the screen so I can see you if you want to guess who this is. This is a hard one. Okay, Aspen, who do you think this is?
Wasp.
A wasp. Thumbs up if you agree with Aspen that this is a wasp. So a couple thumbs down, a couple thumbs up. Xavier, who do you think this is?
That is a yellow jacket.
So a yellow jacket is actually a wasp. So you're both right. Actually, I'm not 100% positive if it's a yellow jacket, but it is a wasp. Okay, it's getting harder. This is a pollinator, believe it or not. And I bet you a lot of you know this animal, but raise your hand like this in your window if you think you know the name of this kind of animal. Let's see. I'm gonna unmute Max.
Potato bug?
Say again?
Potato bug?
Potato bug, good guess. Let's see if we can get a couple other guesses. Jet,
I don't know.
Jet, who do you think this is?
Is it a stink bug?
Okay, let's take a couple other guesses. Raise your hand like this if you want to guess. Ethan, who do you think it is?
Squash bug?
A squash bug? Well, it is a beetle. And so I think of the ones that you just mentioned, squash bugs, I think are also beetles. So they're also pollinators. Here comes the next one. I bet you didn't know this was a pollinator. Raise your hand if you think you know who this is. If you want to guess. Let's see. Is it Eli? I think you need to unmute yourself.
Is it a type of bee?
So good guess, but I did already show you a picture of a bee. So I'll give you a hint. It's not another bee. Do you want to take another guess of an insect we haven't mentioned? Bless you. Okay, who else wants to guess? Okay, Max?
Is it like a robber fly or a fly?
Yes, it is a fly. So believe it or not, flies can be pollinators too. And the last one, everybody just say this one. I know you know this one. A bat. Look at that beautiful bat. So this kind of bat doesn't live in northern New Mexico, but in southern New Mexico, there are actually bats that drink the nectar from flowers. So all these animals are visiting flowers because flowers have sweet
These live in northern New Mexico.
nectar. Can you guys say nectar?
There.
Nectar, yeah. Okay. So who has seen a bat? Okay, put your hands down. Who has seen a wasp? Okay, put your hands down. Who's seen a big fluffy bumblebee, maybe like that one, even recently? How about a butterfly? How about a hummingbird? We already talked about some of you seeing a hummingbird. How about a moth? And how about a beetle? How many of you have seen a beetle on a flower? Because that's actually kind of hard to see sometimes. And who did I miss? How many of you have seen a fly? So let's see, how many are those? How many animals did we just talk about, everybody? How many pictures are on the screen? 8. So there's 8 animal pollinators. So let's remember that. Okay, so we're gonna be moving a little bit today in just a minute. But first we're gonna talk about what's an insect. So I'm gonna show you an insect and I want you to think, what makes an insect and not another animal, okay? So here's another picture of a wasp. So look at its body. Think about legs, think about body parts. What makes an insect an insect? And when I call on you, if you raise your hand, you can tell me one thing that you notice that makes an insect an insect. Okay, Lloyd, do you want to try unmuting? And
Almost only insects have abdomens.
so this animal has an abdomen. Where in its body, Lloyd, is the abdomen? Is it towards the top or the bottom or the middle? It's in the bottom, right? The bottom.
It's in the middle.
Actually, the abdomen is in the bottom. We'll go over that in a second. Okay, so let's do my friends. Did all the three people. Do you see something on the insect that tells you it's an insect?
It has 6 legs.
6 legs. Everybody show me your 6 legs. 3 on each side. Okay, good job. Jet, what else do you see?
Antennas.
Antennae. Can you guys show me your 2 antennae on your heads? Just like the insect? Okay, let's see. There's something on the outside of insects that we do not have. Does anybody know the special word for what's on the outside of insects that we mammals, humans are mammals, don't have? Let's see, who's this? I just
Tobias. They have they have a stinger or wings.
They do have wings, you're right. And actually, I didn't, you're right, they do have wings. Not all insects have stingers, and not all insects have wings at all stages of their lives, but you're right.
Oh.
Okay, did you think of another one?
Their mouths, they're like, what are they called?
They do have interesting mouth parts. We're not going to get too much into that today, but that is true. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you the word. It's called exoskeleton. Can you guys say exoskeleton?
Exoskeleton.
So put an exoskeleton on the outside of your body. So we have a skeleton inside our body. We have hard bones that hold us up, so we're not just a pile of mush. But insects have a hard layer around them that holds their mushy insides, right? So they're a little bit different. Okay, so we're just going to review what we just said. An insect is an animal with 3 body parts: head, thorax, abdomen. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There's the 3 body parts. Thorax is in the middle, and the abdomen is on the bottom. Aspen, are you asking to share something?
Yes.
Okay.
They have bristles on their legs.
So in that picture especially, we can see that the wasp does, yeah. Okay, they have antennae. You guys already mentioned that. They have 6 legs and a hard exoskeleton. And they're the most important group of pollinators. So they are very good at moving pollen from one flower to another. Okay, are you guys ready to stand up? I'm gonna unshare the screen for a minute so I can see you all. Okay, so stand up, because we wanna be moving, right? Can you see me? There we go. So we're gonna act out the body parts, but we're gonna pretend to be insects. Raise your hand if you know the song Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Okay, but we're gonna do it with insect body parts instead of human, right? So we're gonna do head, thorax, do it with me, abdomen. How many legs? 6 legs. What's this on our head? Antennae, exoskeleton, head, thorax, abdomen. Okay, ready? I'm gonna do it once with you listening to me, and then I might just try for fun to unmute all of you and we'll listen to each other. But first, you listen to me. Ready? Head, thorax, abdomen, abdomen. Head, thorax, abdomen, abdomen. 6 legs, antennae, exoskeleton. Head, thorax, abdomen, abdomen. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to unmute you all. I think I can do that, right, Sarah? Do I have to unmute them individually?
Head, motors, T's, and crows.
Oh, you just did it. Okay, thank you. Okay, ready?
Oh, there's a
Singing, because I can hear you all now, finally. Ready?
head,
Head,
thorax, abdomen.
abdomen. Head,
Head, thorax, abdomen.
abdomen. 6 legs, antennae, exoskeleton. Head, thorax, abdomen, abdomen. And look, even my dog wants to sing with us. Can you see?
Stand up. It's a doge.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's
Good
a
job.
doge.
It's fun
It's
to
a doge.
I want to just be sitting.
Oh, hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. I muted everybody for you again, and it muted you. So hold on really quick. And it's not, there we go.
Now you can hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Thank you. Okay, so all this talk about pollinators, well, what's going on in the flower, right? Like, why are they hanging out in flowers so much? Okay, so I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen with you, and I'm gonna show you a close-up of the inside of a flower. Can you guys see my screen? Oh, except for now, my PowerPoint isn't working. Boo. Okay, whoops. Now it is. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's look inside this flower. Take your finger. Don't touch your screen, just point to it, okay? See if you can find the petals on the flower. Point to the petals. So they're on the outside. They're usually colorful, sometimes interesting shapes. Point to the part that you think of the flower has the pollen. So pollen is like a powder. That's an easy way to remember it, pollen powder. Do you guys see the yellow? That yellow part? It's called, those are called the anthers. Can you say anthers? So that's where the pollen is. And I'm not going to tell you about all the parts that are in this picture. We're going to take our finger again. So go ahead and point to the anthers. There's 2 of them that are bright yellow. Now point to the tall part in the middle. And at the very, very top is a very sticky part called a stigma. Can you say stigma? And so if the stigma is sticky, that means pollen from another flower can stick onto it, and that allows pollination to happen. Okay, I'm gonna show you a real flower that I bought for you guys at the store yesterday, because it's sometimes hard to see on, like, it depends on the kind of flower. But I got you a flower that you can see the pollen super well. Do you see the anthers? Let's see. Do you see what color they are? What color do they look like? Kind of orange, rusty orange. Do you think do you see how the pollen has actually gotten on the sides of the flower, on the petals? So if I were a bee and I came in, oh, I forgot to ask you guys, why do the bees and the beetles and the butterflies and all the other insects like to visit the flowers? Raise your hand. What are they going to get at the flower? Jet, what do you think they're going to get?
They're going to get nectar, and then they throw it up in their hive and make honey, and then they dry it with their wings.
Okay, so you're talking about honeybees specifically, right? So yeah. They like nectar. Do you guys think butterflies like nectar? Shake or nod your head if you think butterflies like nectar. Do you think hummingbirds like nectar? Do you think wasps like nectar? Because it is like a sweet juice. Tobias, what were you gonna say?
Also hornets pollinate.
Yeah, hornets are in the wasp family, you're right. Okay, so you're a thirsty hummingbird or butterfly or bee. You're gonna fly right into this flower, and guess what? The nectar is deep inside. So you're gonna have to go all the way to the bottom. And look what my finger is doing. I'm trying to get to the bottom. Am I brushing by the anthers? Yeah, and look, if I brush by the anthers, you might even be able to see if I show you. I got some bright orange pollen on the tip of my finger. Maybe I can show you with a Q-tip. It'll be a little bit more obvious. Whoa, look at all that pollen that came off. So if you're a fuzzy bumblebee, do you think that's gonna fall in your body? Yeah, it totally is. Okay, Tobias, did you have another question?
Well, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. And the way that bees and stuff and like bees get the nectar, they like have these things built into their mouths. It's like a straw, and it comes out.
They have a long tongue. Yeah, a lot of the animals that we just mentioned have a special long tongue, and even hummingbirds, their tongue is very special. If you ever get a chance to look it up online.
So basically, whenever you're eating honey, you're eating bee barf.
Kind of, yeah, kind of. Okay, so we're gonna come back to this flower at the end because I'm gonna show you a fun activity you can do. But for right now, I'm gonna go back to the PowerPoint to show you a couple other pictures. Okay, so here we have a bee. Can everybody find the bee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, point to the bee. Okay, your finger is becoming the bee. So go ahead and fly to flower number 1. And remember, try not to touch the screen, just kind of imagine you're going down into the middle of the flower, drinking some of that delicious, what is it at the bottom? Nectar. You're gonna suck some of that up. And then on your way out, you're gonna brush by the anther on flower number 2. Now go ahead and fly to flower number 2, get some more delicious nectar. And then you're gonna maybe on your way in or out, you're gonna brush against the stigma, which is sticky, on flower number 2. And then you're gonna fly off. Okay, so now we're gonna stand up again and we're gonna act that out. So go ahead and stand up. Okay, think about what kind of a bee do you wanna be? Do you wanna be a bumblebee, a honeybee? Do you wanna be a bright green bee like the one that I saw the other day? So either way, you're gonna fly to your flower. I'm gonna pretend, here's my big flower. I'm gonna pretend I'm flying to this one. I'm gonna zoop down inside the flower. Use your tongue, slurp up the nectar, and then crawl out of the flower, and along the way, oh, did you get some pollen on you? Because remember, you're covered in fuzz or fur. Then you're gonna fly to the next flower, go dive down into it again, drink some nectar, and then on your way back out, you might rub against the stigma, which is sticky, of the second flower, and some of that pollen might get off. Okay, there's one more step. I'm gonna make all of you all mama bees, and you're gonna do something really special. Mama bees not only are getting nectar, they're getting pollen. So you're gonna take your legs and you're gonna wipe your pollen off all the hairs on your body. You have 2 choices. You could be like a bumblebee or a honeybee. You could pack that pollen on your legs. Can't see my legs, or there's some other bees that like to pack it on their abdomen. So you decide, are you gonna clean that pollen off and put it on your legs? Or are you gonna put it on your abdomen? You decide, okay, now it's time to go back to the nest. Remember, you're all mama bees. Fly back to the nest. Okay, I'm turning you back into kids, and we're gonna come back to the nest in a minute. And I just realized I haven't been looking at your chat to see if you're writing questions or anything. Looks like, okay. Okay, Tobias, did you have a question? Let's just share questions right now. We'll take a quick break and then we'll go back to the PowerPoint. Any questions?
Actually, only the queen bees have kids.
So you're talking about honeybees and I'm talking about all bees. Did you know that in New Mexico alone, just in our state, we have over 1,000 kinds of native bees?
Yeah.
1,000, it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so when we talk about honeybees, they're just one kind of bee, and they're actually not what we say is native to New Mexico. That means they came from somewhere else, and they are bees that are managed by people. So they have a very different life cycle. So today I'm going to be mostly talking about native bees. Okay, any other questions? Okay, Aspen.
One time, we've been wanting a carpenter bee for a long time, but now it's gone.
Can you tell us what a carpenter bee looks like? Because that's a great one to look out for. I bet you guys could find.
It looks green and fuzzy, and it was just one mother bee, maybe her 2 daughters, and I watched her chase a bee, lots of birds.
So when I think of carpenter bees, maybe you're thinking of a different kind, because the ones I know are really big and black. They're actually bigger than bumblebees. Raise your hand if you've ever seen a big black carpenter bee like that. Like it almost looks like a beetle. It's so big.
I seen one of those. It looks really shiny black.
Yes, exactly. Okay, Max, did you have a question? Okay. Okay, let's go back because I have a few more things. I have a quiz for you guys that's coming up soon, but we need to get back to our PowerPoint to get ready for that. Oh, that's right. I was going to show you what happens after pollination, right? So we have a flower, like a sunflower, and if enough bees go to it, this is actually a fly in this picture, which is kind of funny. I just realized that. And they bring the pollen from another flower. Then that flower can grow a seed. So you can see on the right side is the picture of the sunflower when it has grown all of its seeds. And I am going to show you a couple more things. So we have, what flower is this, everybody? You can just say a dandelion. Now, imagine you have a dandelion after the yellow goes away. What does it turn into? Imagine you have one in your hand. What are you going to do? You can blow all the seeds. And I didn't actually find one. I just walked around. I only found one that barely had a seed left. Do you see its little seed? So what happens after the dandelion gets pollinated is it makes little seeds like this that can fly in the wind, right? So we could blow it. So raise your hand if you've ever done that, where you've taken a dandelion and made a wish. Yeah, that's really fun. What I did get for you that's pretty cool is I have a sunflower head. And the cool thing about sunflowers is they're like, we think of them as one flower, but there's actually hundreds of tiny flowers. And each one is gonna make a tiny seed. I was gonna try to pull one out for you, but these are really tiny. They're hard to get out. Oh, there we go. So there's the tiny seed that came from the sunflower head. Okay. I'm gonna go back because like I said, I have a cool, I think you're gonna like this quiz. But first, I have to teach you about the different insects. So I'm gonna show you an insect. I want you to say what you think it is. Raise your hand. Who is this? Okay, Ethan, you're gonna have to unmute yourself. No? Okay. Is there somebody else who wants to say? Okay, this is I'm just gonna say, because I think you know this one. This one is a bee. Raise your hand if you agree. This is a bee. That's what you were gonna say. Okay, good job. Let's see the next one. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I was gonna tell you about the parts of the bee. How do we know it's a bee? This is, we get to act out again. It's hairy. Can you grow some hairs on your body? Grow some hairs on your body. I'm turning you into a bee. Put them on your legs. Put them on your back. Maybe even put some on your head. It has long antennae. Grow really long antennae so we can actually see them. It has 4 wings. This is going to be hard to act out, but put 4 wings, maybe some up and some down. Can you do that? It has eyes on the side of its head. This is a really important clue. I like to pretend like this, but you can pretend another way. So the eyes are on the side of the head. It has pollen collecting hairs. Remember I told you that? On its legs or its belly. So bumblebees will put the pollen on their legs, so you can grow some on your legs if you want pollen hairs there. Or you can grow some on your belly. You decide where you want your pollen hairs if you're a bee. Okay, it's gonna get harder. What insect is this? Which one is this? If you wanna try to guess, you can raise your hand. It says Sam. Who do you think this is, Sam? Oh, I can't hear you for some reason. Can you say again, Sam? A fly? Is that what you said? Okay, you are correct. Let's see how we know this is a fly. Now you're gonna be a fly. Make your antennae short, really short. They barely poke out of your head. 2 wings, you only have 2. You don't have 4 like the bee. Eyes on the front of your head, really close together. Do you see how close together those flies' eyes are? No hairs, you just have smooth legs. Maybe you have a little bit of hair you can kind of see on that fly in your back, but you're not very hairy. Okay, what insect is this one? Raise your hand if you want to guess. Is it Eli?
Yeah. Is it a wasp?
You are correct, Eli. This is a wasp. Notice it's way less hairy than the bee, right? It has like a little bit of a fuzz, but look at how, let's make our legs really long, slender, and pretty unhairy. Narrow waist. Can you suck in your belly and make your waist really narrow? Long antennae. They have long antennae just like bees. Wasps and bees are actually in the same family. 4 wings like bees. So do 2 sets of wings. 1, 2. Okay, now comes the quiz. Thumbs up if you're ready for the quiz. I'm gonna show you an insect and you think if you know which one it is. It's one of the ones we just practiced. What insect is it? This is a very tricky one. So look closely and raise your hand if you want to guess who this is. Okay, Tobias.
A cow killer?
So is it a bee, a fly, or a wasp?
I think it's a type of hornet or wasp.
Okay, so your guess is wasp. I'm going to take one more guess. Who else wants to guess? Anybody? Nope. Okay. Oh, Xavier? You're going to have to unmute yourself.
I was thinking that was a bumblebee.
It's very hairy like a bumblebee, but this is a trick one, you guys. This is a fly. It has very short antennae. We can't really see the eyes, and it only has 2 wings. Here comes your next one. Who is this? Go ahead and just say, everybody. I'm going to read your lips. Say who you think this is. This is a bee. It has super long antennae. And do you see all the hairs on its body? It's a bee. Okay, now it's gonna get maybe a little bit harder. Who's this? I'll give you a hint. Who has a narrow waist? Sam, do you want to try that one? Who has a narrow waist like that? Who do you think, Sam? Okay, anybody else want to guess? I think I maybe don't have your name right. The person in the red shirt, it says Sam family. Oh, I can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear them. So maybe your speaker's not connected, bud. You might have to have mom or dad or whoever's home with you look at your speaker because we can't hear what you're saying. Okay.
Okay. So this one is a wasp, everybody. Do you see the narrow waist and how it's smooth? This is the trickiest one of all. Who wants to try this one? This is very, very tricky. This is actually a trick one. I'm actually tricking you, but maybe still you could figure it out. Okay, Eli?
A butterhummer? What are those called?
What kind of an animal is it, even if you don't know the exact name?
I think it's a type of bird.
Okay, I'm going to take one more guess. Who else wanted to guess? Jet, did you want to guess? Okay.
Is it a moth?
It is a moth. This is a moth pretending to be a bee, right? It's a bee mimic. It's a moth pretending to be a bee. Okay, wait, I want to go back for a second. Okay, so I want to know who can tell me, sorry, one second, I need to get to my notes. Why bees are good pollinators. And I'll give you a hint. What are they doing when they're, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. What are they doing when they're going to the flowers that makes them such excellent pollinators? And I already mentioned it, and I think some of you know this. So raise your hand like this so I can see it in your window. If you would like to say, why are bees such good pollinators? Okay, Aspen, what do you think?
Because they pollinate.
Because they pollinate, okay. Who else wants to guess? Eli.
Because they have hair on their legs, and when they are thirsty, they have to dig down really deep, and the hair collects a lot of pollen.
So that is part of it, is they're very hairy. This is true, but I'll give you a hint. Why are they so hairy, and what are they doing with the pollen that they collect?
I think they're gonna use it to make honey.
So remember, not all bees are honeybees. So honeybees are some of the only bees that actually make honey. Most bees do not make honey. I'm gonna mute you, Eli, and let one more person have a chance. Xavier?
I have to say a honeybee. They make
Okay.
honey.
Honeybees are good pollinators, but now I'm gonna show you why they're such good. We didn't quite get there, so. The reason is they're collecting pollen for someone very important. Oopsie, sorry. Okay. Who are they collecting pollen for? For their babies. So remember when I made you guys a mama bee? Let's go back to that, okay? So stand up. We're gonna be mama bees. You have just left a flower and you're full of pollen. Actually, maybe you're gonna take a little break before you go back to the nest. Brush some of that pollen again off your hairs on your body. You remember you can either put it on your legs or put it on your belly, wherever you're gonna decide to collect it, because you have to take this pollen back to your nest, okay? So now you're ready. You're gonna fly back to your nest. Most bees in New Mexico nest in the ground by themselves. They don't nest in a hive. So do you guys see the little picture of the hole in the sand? So you are gonna be a bee that nests in the ground. So go ahead and fly back to your nest. You can sit down now. Take the pollen off your legs or your belly and make it into a ball. Pack it down into the hole that you've dug. So if you're a bee that lives in the ground, that means you dug that hole, that nest. And then you're gonna lay your egg on it. So go ahead and lay your egg. Now you're going to, depending on what kind of a bee you are, but we'll pretend you're a kind of bee that's gonna fly out, pat down the ground behind you. So you're gonna seal in the nest so that the egg and the snack of pollen that you left are safe, and then you're gonna fly away. And you're gonna do it again and again and again every time you lay an egg. Okay, I'm turning you back into kids. Point to the first picture that shows the hole. You can see the little ball of pollen in there. Point to the second picture. You can see a close-up now of the ball of pollen, and on top is a tiny egg. Point to the third picture. We're going counterclockwise, so we're going right to left. To the baby bee that is hatched, which is now called a larva. Can you say larva? Okay, and it's hungry, right? If you've been in the egg, you're gonna come out and you're gonna be hungry because you're gonna start growing like crazy. So go ahead and eat some of that. Now you're a larva, eat some of that delicious pollen that your mama left for you. So if you were a bee, you would think this was delicious, or a larva of a bee. And then point to the next picture. You're gonna make a pupa, just like caterpillars make a pupa to turn into a butterfly. You're a larva bee and you're gonna make a pupa to turn into a bee. So go ahead, make a pupa around you. It's going to enclose you. You started out in like a little blob with not very many body parts. Now you're inside the pupa. What's going to start growing out of your head? Antennae. What's going to start growing out of the side of your body? 6 legs. How about out of your back? 4 wings. How about all around you to protect you? An exoskeleton. How about some hairs so you can collect pollen? And then one day, you're ready. You're gonna burst out of your pupa, dig up to the surface, because remember you're underground, and stretch your wings wide because now you're an adult bee. And this cycle will start over. So if you're a mama bee, you'll immediately start going, digging holes for your nests, collecting pollen, drinking nectar for you. The nectar is for you when you're thirsty, and the pollen you're going to collect and bring for your babies. Oh, I was going to tell you one more really cool thing. Raise your hand if you would like to guess the answer to my question. How long can a bee stay underground in the form of an egg or a larva or a pupa? How long do you think they stay underground before they turn into adult bee? So raise your hand if you want to say your answer. Tobias, how long do you think they can stay?
Until they run out of pollen food.
How long do you think that is?
I don't know, maybe like a week.
Okay, so Tobias's guess is a week. Who else wants to guess? Max, you can unmute yourself.
Year?
A year. So between the two, Max is closer. So most bees will stay underground for a year until they can become an adult. But some bees will wait. If it's a bad year, if there's not enough moisture and there's not going to be a lot of flowers, some bees can wait underground for 1 year, 2 years, even 4 to 5 years. And they'll wait, especially in the desert in New Mexico, until the rains come. And then they sense, scientists think they sense the moisture and they know to come out. Max?
Sort of like spadefoots?
Yeah, there's other animals that do that, right? Spadefoot toads. So other animals that wait to come out when the conditions are right. Okay, so how can we help pollinators? We can plant flowers for them, right? I'm gonna share some ideas with you guys now about what you can do to learn more about them and also how to help them. Raise your hand if you've ever smelled a chocolate flower. Do you see on the right side of your screen? Those are chocolate flowers. They're all around my neighborhood. I love those. And the ones in the middle are called a hummingbird mint. So who do you think likes those? Hummingbirds, yep. And then the ones on the left are milkweed. And the butterflies really like and need those, but there's other pollinators that like them too. And I always say, be curious and be kind. So when we see something, we don't automatically think, oh, that insect is gonna sting me, or oh, that insect is gonna eat my plants. We watch it, we learn about it, and then we might learn something new. Okay, I'm gonna go through a couple of these ideas, and then I'm gonna show you some activities to do. So one thing you can do is you can go outside and pretend you're a pollinator and fly from flower to flower with a pipe cleaner or a Q-tip, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. The second idea I have for you is to go on a pollinator scavenger hunt around your yard or your neighborhood. You guys, I did this weekend, and I saw so many pollinators on one Apache plume bush. That's a really pretty white flower that you probably have near you. I saw in like 5 minutes, I think I saw all 8 pollinators except for the bat. I didn't see any bats. But I saw lots of different bees. That's where I saw that beautiful green one. You could play Is It a Bee? You could test yourself, quiz yourself, just like we were doing where I showed you a picture. When you're out walking around, you could say, hey, what is that animal? Is it a bee? Is it a wasp? Is it a fly? You could get a magnifying glass and look closely at flowers, or even just when you're outside walking, just look closely with your eye. see if you can find the anthers with the pollen, that's the powder that the bees and other pollinators move around. See if you can find the sticky stigma, and then go find another flower and see if it's the same or if it's different. And you can also learn more with some books, and I'm going to show you a couple books I really like in a second. Okay, guys, I want to show you a game. So this is kind of like what I was mentioning. You can get a pipe cleaner or a Q-tip.
Tobias, hold on really quick, okay, babe? When she's all done, she'll take questions, okay? But she knows you have a question, all right?
Sorry, I can't see everybody right now, you guys. I'm just going to show you the activities and we'll take some questions. So this is the Q-tip that I rubbed on the anthers of this flower. But it's kind of fun to do it with, if you have them, a pipe cleaner. And I chose a dark colored one because then if I fly to the flower, oopsie, I'm doing it this way. If I can pretend I'm flying to the flower and it's fuzzy like a bee, it kind of looks like a bee. And I can practice, ooh, here I'm going to the stigma, that's the sticky part in the middle. I'm gonna see if it stuck to it. Can you guys see? It actually did stick to it. And then I'm gonna fly to another one, so that's kind of a fun one. The other thing is, do you think all pollen is orange, or do you think it could be different colors? That's something for you to discover. Lloyd, what do you think?
This pollen? Cactus pollen? Sometimes of cactus pollen is actually pink.
So that's a fun thing to explore too when you're on your scavenger hunt for flowers. What color is the pollen? So you could use a different color pipe cleaner that might make it easier to see different colors when you're out exploring. So that's one activity that I like. I had a hand lens, but I can't remember what I did with it. If you have a hand lens or a magnifying glass, it's really cool to look up close at the flower. This flower is huge, right? It has really big parts I can see. But I just went and looked around my neighborhood to see. I had a poppy out front. It has really small parts, so it might be fun if you have a magnifying glass to look at it. What color do you think the pollen is on the poppy? Doesn't look orange. So those are the anthers in the, oopsie, in the middle there. So again, we're gonna explore to see. And then I wanted to show you a couple books that I like for learning about animals that live here. So this is a guidebook. This is a book for kids. It has lots of great pictures of butterflies. This one's all about butterflies. Then I have one that's all about hummingbirds. And there's so many bees, it's actually really hard to learn about a specific kind, but this is a guide to bees. So sometimes if I find a cool bee, I might look up in here and see if I can learn more about it. Okay. I'm sorry, I haven't been reading your chats if there's been any actual questions, but why don't we do raise hands questions first and then I'll come back to the chat. So raise your hand if you have any questions so far. Okay. Who was it who was waiting before Sarah, was it?
Oh, no, me. I actually had a comment that I saw a hornet over the summer.
And how did you know it was a hornet?
Because it was pretty big and it was big and it had a pretty big stinger.
So what kind of insect is a hornet? We talked about
the wasp.
They're in the wasp family. So they have that narrow waist, smooth, they don't have hairs. They will go to flowers to drink the nectar, and they do have stingers. So actually one thing I will mention, so wasps are good to keep your distance from. So like when I was out the other day and I told you I went on the scavenger hunt and I had this beautiful bush full of pollinators, I didn't get like this close to every flower, right? If I looked and I saw it was a fly or a butterfly, I might put my eye really close. But if I saw it was a wasp, I would give it a few feet. But honestly, if they're busy and they're drinking the nectar and you're not in their way, they really don't mind you. So it's okay to watch them from a little ways away. Tobias? Jet, did you want to share something? Okay. Who else had a hand? I'll come back to you in a second, Tobias. I just want to see if there's anyone else who wanted to share. Okay, think in your brain, what pollinator are you most excited to see when next time you go outside where there's flowers? So think to yourself, just think, and then thumbs up when you have one that you'd like to share. I'm going to just do a quick share around before we go for those of you who'd like to. What pollinator would you be most excited to see now that you know a little bit more? Okay, Jet, who do you want to see?
A white butterfly, because we usually see them at at our garden, and I like the white butterflies.
Thanks, Jet. Okay, Xavier, are you ready?
Yourself. You muted me.
Go ahead.
We have a hummingbird nest in our front garden, and it's in a big tree, and we're about to have 2 baby hummingbirds.
That's so cool. Have you been able to see the eggs?
Yes.
Yeah?
But every time we try to take it,
They're about this big.
they're about this big.
That's so cool. You're really lucky. I have a hummingbird.
And here's the back part of it.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I hope you get to see them soon. Okay, Aspen, who do you want to see?
I want to see a bright, like orange and black, painted lady.
Ooh, that's a good one. I bet you can see that too. Okay, let's see. I see. Oh, I unmuted you guys.
Who guys?
Sorry, I didn't write down.
His name is Levi.
Okay, Levi, who do you want to see?
A brown hornet.
Ooh, a brown hornet. Very cool.
Brown hornet.
Not brown, ground.
Ground, like from underground. Okay, cool. Thanks, Levi. Okay, Eli.
We have where our camper is, where we hook it up. There's a dove, and we'll usually see her sitting on her nest, and she's laid 2 eggs. We've got to see the eggs.
Cool. So you're gonna have some baby birds hatching too.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Eli. Okay, Max.
A hummingbird.
Do you know what kind of hummingbirds might be living around your house?
I think it was a green-chested hummingbird.
Okay. So just to
And-
show, go ahead.
Quickly on the topic of hummingbirds, I have 2 hummingbird nests.
Wow, gosh, I guess the hummingbirds are doing well in our area. So one of the hummingbirds that I see by my house is the black-chinned hummingbird, which is right there. That's one that we often see in Albuquerque. I'm not sure if you can see that picture. Thanks, Max. Let's see, who hasn't shared yet? Who wanted to share? Lloyd, did you want to share? No? Okay. Okay, any comments, Sarah, oh, chocolate flowers, do they smell like chocolate? They do, you guys. So keep your eyes out. They're yellow with a brown center, so there's kind of brown in the middle that makes me think of chocolate. And if you're ever walking by in the middle of the day when it's warm, oh, you just smell it and it smells like chocolate. So keep your eyes out for those. Those are, they look like daisies, kind of. The pollen. Oh, so this is a good question. Someone wrote, the pollen your mom left you, and that's the only thing you ever knew of her. This is true. So the adult bees, this is the native bees, not honeybees. So when you go outside and you see, and not bumblebees, they're a little bit different too. They have nests. So if you go outside and see a native bee like this, the mama bee will make the nest in the ground, usually leave the pollen snack. The egg will hatch, the larva will eat it. But before that, after the summer, the adult bee actually dies. So the mother bee will die. And then the next year, around the same time, let's say, is when the egg will hatch and the larva will come out and emerge as the adult bee. So the mother bee of most bees will not meet the baby bees. So the baby bees they get to eat the food that she left behind, and then they grow into an adult and they're ready to go. Oh, and I said baby bee, but we say larva, right? That's the science name for a baby if it's an insect. Okay, I think you guys did a great job, and it is now time for lunch for some of us.
Yeah. So thank you, Sarah, for coming and sharing all of that information with all the kids. Kids, I'm going to unmute you guys. I'm going to unmute everybody, and we're going to say thank you. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So we are logging out for the week. We'll see you next Tuesday. You guys be sure to get out there, and you can look for pollinators. You can do some of the activities that Miss Sarah shared with you. And if you have any questions, be sure to hop on our Nature Ninos Facebook page. Let your parents help you, and ask any questions that you guys have, and we're here to help you. Okay? Bye, guys. Hi, Ella. All right, bye, guys. Have a great day. See you later.